Happy October, everyone. Yep, this year I'm Dipper Pines. This vest cost me $30, so if I do the same costume next year, I don't want to hear any complaints. The hat was a birthday gift from my brother. Anyway, we won't be doing anything Gravity Falls related because that makes too much sense. Instead, let's look at Cartoon Network. Today is Cartoon Network's 30th birthday. God, can you believe it? They've definitely had an interesting history, and they've been responsible for some of my favorite cartoons of all time. Courage, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Regular Show, Powerpuff Girls, We Bare Bears, Billy and Mandy, Kids Next Door, Steven Universe. I have a lot of memories of this network, from watching Fridays every week to those city bumpers that they ran in the 2000s. Of the three main family channels, this was and still is my favorite. But they certainly have made some mistakes. Not necessarily releasing bad shows, every network is gonna have some crap, but dumb executive decisions. From canceling some well-liked shows due to them not selling enough toys, to airing shows way too much like Johnny Test and Teen Titans Go. But any fan will tell you that the most embarrassing part of their history was way back in the late 2000s when Cartoon Network started airing live-action shows. Now, technically, this wasn't the first time they did this. Space Ghost had some live action in it, and there was also Big Bag, which was a puppet show. And of course, Fridays had live action hosts. But around the mid-2000s, they started really pushing for more live action stuff. It started small with the Cartoon Network Theater playing movies like The Goonies and Jumanji, but then in 2006 they released Reanimated, a film about a boy named Jimmy who gets hit by a train and gets a brain transplant with some long dead cartoonist and starts seeing the cartoon characters he created. Everyone hated it, so of course 1 year later they started airing live action shows. It wasn't all bad, this was actually how I was introduced to Goosebumps. But around 2008 they began their infamous CN Real block, a block that most would consider the low point in Cartoon Network history. The Hero of Tomorrow has a great video covering all these shows, and looking back, when taken out of context that they were aired on a channel called Cartoon Network, most of the shows weren't that bad. Some of them were. My brother has a video on the Othersiders if you want to check that out. But if some of them aired on Nick or Disney Channel, they may have done okay. However, there is one show that pretty much no one will stick up for, and that is the very first one, Out of Jimmy's Head.
Let's see if you can tell what's wrong with this picture.
I mentioned Reanimated, and this was its spin-off series. It didn't even last a year, but if you were to ask CN historians what is the worst show to ever air on the channel, many would probably say this. It was hated at the time and still hated now. There's no nostalgic resurgence for this. Everyone who was there at the time pretty much agrees that the show sucked. It was so hated that for a while most of the show was lost. And even today, only about half the episodes are available in English. However, given that today is Cartoon Network's 30th birthday, let's do what many people do when they hit 30, look back at our biggest fuck-ups. But despite only having 20 episodes, they actually did manage a Halloween one called Ghosts. And it's in English, so for its 30th anniversary, let's see if this is really the worst show Cartoon Network ever did.